I figured, where would a better place to shoot today's video be than at a vacant bank in Palm Desert, California today, ladies and gentlemen. And we're going to see a lot more of this. Banks that are gone, especially regional banks, they're going to be falling by the wayside. That's not to cause a bank run or anything like that. Here's another vacant bank building. It's been here for years, and you're beginning to see more and more of this. We've been watching this take place for years. A lot of these smaller banks closing, and now we're going to see a lot more. Unfortunately, it's really, really sad. It is Tuesday, May 2nd, 2023. We got a lot to talk about. So this is the old drive-through here. Beautiful building. Right off El Paseo here, Palm Desert, California. The Rodeo Drive of the desert. It's gone. So let's talk about what transpired today and how bad this could actually get, because it could get really, really bad. And we've been talking about this for a while. And the problems aren't going away, ladies and gentlemen. They're intensifying. PacWest falls nearly 30% today. I don't know where it's at right now, but earlier today it was down nearly 30%. And we're watching regional bank stocks plunge. Tomorrow, we're going to get a 25 basis point rate hike. I believe that's 99.5% going to happen. It's not 100%, but more than likely it is going to happen. Western Alliance, earlier today when I checked, they were down 15%. Zions, they were down 12%. This is going to get really nasty. And a big issue for these regional banks is going to be tomorrow, the possibility of more rate hikes. Tomorrow, 25 basis points. That's going to put pressure on these regional banks. Higher rates are going to make it much more costly for these regional banks to hold deposits. Also, lowering the market value of long-dated bonds and loans on the books. Now, a lot of people think tomorrow will be the last rate hike, and then all of a sudden a miracle is going to take place and the Fed's going to reverse course. I don't believe that's going to happen. I believe we're going to have another rate hike after tomorrow, maybe possibly two more, and they're going to hold. I do not believe the Fed is here to rescue the day or the investors. Plan for trouble, ladies and gentlemen. Plan for things to get more and more intense. And just to share some news with you today, I printed out some articles this morning I thought were relevant. Job openings fell more than expected in March to lowest level in nearly 2 years. Do everything in your power to keep your jobs, ladies and gentlemen. You may not like it, but if it is paying you every week or every 2 weeks, it is paying the bills. Do everything in your power to keep that job. Get there early, leave late, work harder than everybody else. It is going to get more and more difficult to find good jobs. It's going to get more difficult to find a full-time job. We know that the majority of jobs that are out there right now are leisure and hospitality, part-time, low-wage jobs, no benefits, 18, 20, 25 hours a week. That's it. And if you have a decent job right now, do everything in your power to keep it. Here's another one on CNBC. 73% of millennials are living paycheck to paycheck, new report finds. 60% of Americans overall are living paycheck to paycheck, and I've seen some data that says it's 70%. But right here, from what CNBC is saying, 60% of all Americans, working Americans, are living paycheck to paycheck. 73% of millennials are living paycheck to paycheck. My question, please comment down below, is how are these people going to survive as we begin to see this economy unravel? And it's been unraveling, and the unraveling is going to accelerate. And the problem here that I'm so concerned about is nobody over the past 2, 3, 4 years has prepared for this collapse. Many of you saw it coming years ago, beginning, and began to prepare. And so many people, even today, do not see a problem with the U.S. economy. And so many people, unfortunately, are going to be taken by surprise. Many people just wanted to deny reality and didn't want to pay attention, too busy going to concerts, too busy going to baseball games and football games, too busy watching Netflix, and too busy just listening to what the television was telling them that everything was going to be fine, that everything was going to be fixed, the economy's strong, the consumer's strong. Don't listen to this negativity. Don't listen to the doom and gloomers. Everything's going to be fine. The Fed's coming to the rescue. Now these people are beginning to get very, very worried, and rightfully so. They should be very worried. And if this is you, you should be extremely worried, because I don't think we have much farther to go before the thread breaks here and we're into a full economic freefall. We have never seen a banking crisis like this. We've not seen inflation like this. We've never seen debt like this. We've never seen people losing their jobs like this day to day, thousands upon thousands of people. IBM right here to stop hiring for roles that can be replaced by AI. Nearly 8,000 workers will be replaced by automation. That is coming. Goldman Sachs said that AI could lead to some 300 million layoffs among highly paid non-menial workers in the US and Europe. 2/3 of occupations could be permanently or partially automated by AI. This, according to The Hedge. And we have so many people coming to this country that are looking for work, and AI and technology is going to replace so many jobs. I have a hard time understanding how people are going to feed themselves, how the medical system in this country is going to hold up with so many people and so many people losing jobs. I don't see how this ends well for a lot of people. Here's another one. CNBC, Wall Street is cutting more jobs as Morgan Stanley plans 3,000 layoffs. That's a staggering number. But we're going to see a lot of banks laying off people, and you can bet that with so many regional banks now under pressure, you're going to see a lot of layoffs. We're going to see more banks collapse, and that means people that worked at those banks are going to be gone. And people think that we're not going to see a housing collapse, that we're not going to see more listings, more inventory in housing. When Morgan Stanley lays off 3,000 people, when AI is replacing jobs, these people have homes. They're not going to be able to afford to pay those mortgages. They're going on the market. These job eliminations for Morgan Stanley are going to be taking place by the end of June. This equates to, get this, 5%, roughly close to 5% of the New York-based bank's workforce, when excluding the financial advisors and support staff, who right now are being spared, but who knows for how long. So we're going to see more of these well-paying jobs in banking, in tech, in retail, in trucking, everywhere. I don't think there is a sector now that is safe from layoffs. World Economic Forum survey says world will shed 14 million jobs by 2027. Again, if you have a good job right now, make sure you keep it. Make sure you keep it. You may not like it. It may not be the career that you want right now, but if it's paying the bills, I highly advise that you keep that job. CNBC, credit card interest rates keep climbing. Here's what consumers need to know. Right now, we are at record highs when it comes to credit card rates. Record highs. I think right now we're averaging around 20%. That's the average credit card rate right now. If there is another rate hike tomorrow, which there will be, the rate on your card is going up. Think about where we're at right now, where so many people are relying on credit cards just to pay for essentials, to pay utility bills, to pay at the grocery store to put food on the table. And tomorrow we're getting another rate hike. And the cost to borrow that debt, on that debt, is going up. And I do believe we're going to see 1 to 2 more rate hikes. And if things really get out of control, who's to say that they don't get more aggressive with rate hikes and we see even more rate hikes? The Hedge. America's empire is bankrupt. You know, last night I was watching a video, Dave Ramsey video, and somebody wrote in and said, Dave, what do you think about the BRICS nations? What do you think about de-dollarization? I'm concerned. What do you think? And Dave literally laughed and thought it was fantasy talk, that anybody could think that the BRICS nations is anything other than a pipe dream. It's a joke to think that the world's not that the world reserve currency could not be the U.S. dollar. It always will be the U.S. It will always be the world reserve currency, the U.S. dollar. It's not going anywhere. What is Brazil? We're going to use Brazilian money. Laughing. And it was kind of really insulting, and it's kind of shocking that somebody as intelligent as Dave Ramsey doesn't see what's going on, but I think he does. I know he's highly invested in the markets, highly invested in real estate, and so he's got to cheerlead real estate and the markets. Heaven forbid if he actually came out and told the truth about gold and the BRICS nations. But you know, for Dave Ramsey and people who follow Dave Ramsey, look, I have nothing against Dave Ramsey. I like Dave Ramsey. I think he's a good person. I agree with probably 90-95% of what he has to say, but he is misleading people here. He really is. And again, because he's, I believe, heavily invested in markets and real estate, and that's why he laughs and scoffs these things off, because he doesn't want to talk about the truth. The BRICS nations right now make up 41% of the global population. 31% of global GDP right now sits with the BRICS nations. And there are many, many countries that are going to join the BRICS nations. But think about that right now. Just what do we got? Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa. That's 41% of the global population, 31.5% of global GDP. And Dave Ramsey thinks that the dollar is going to be the world reserve currency here for the next 100 years, 10 years, that there's no serious competition to the US dollar right now, and that there isn't going to be, that the world doesn't want to dump dollars, that the world is sick of the weaponization of the dollar. Roughly 5% of the human race currently live in the US. That's it, 5%. That's a very small fraction of humanity, ladies and gentlemen. And until quite recently, we enjoyed a third of the world's energy reserves and manufactured products and about a quarter of its raw materials. The US imposed a series of arrangements on most other nations that guaranteed the lion's share of international trade would use dollars as the medium of exchange. This allowed us to manufacture dollars out of thin air so that we could buy products from all over the world where people work hard, where people sweat, where we can just print money out of thin air and people here can buy things with money they don't even have, while other nations work hard, produce blood, sweat, and tears to manufacture physical products and goods. Don't you think the world is beginning to resent this? Don't you think the world is beginning or is past the resentment that we took so much money to put over 1,000 military bases across the world? We committed all these wars, spending trillions of dollars. We don't invade countries that grow lettuce or Brussels sprouts. We go to countries that had gold. We go to countries that had oil. We go to countries that don't want to use the dollar, and we start wars. It's all changing now because we cannot fight the entire world. And I think the entire world now is going to begin to go against this U.S. regime and this petrodollar that we've enjoyed so much luxury from and have lived so beyond our means and so much over our heads because we're able to just print money out of thin air, buying products and goods from other countries that actually had to produce those products and goods. So I think we're going to see a lot of resentment from the world, and it's not going to go away. And I think the average American is going to be in for a huge wake-up call very, very soon. And so while I'm standing in front of this closed bank, and you're going to see more of these closed banks in areas near you, more vacant commercial real estate, more regional banks closing. But how many more banks are going to fail? And how many more bank failures will it take for American confidence in the full faith and credit of the U.S. government? How long before people begin to lose that faith and that confidence? How many more of these buildings go empty before people begin to lose faith and lose faith in the US dollar. The banking system is broke. The banking system is melting down, ladies and gentlemen. Who's the next one to fail? Who's it going to be? How many more banks are going to fail? And will some of these big banks fail at some point? And will we be left with 2 banks, 4 banks, 10 banks? I don't know. So here's the problem now. I think we all realize, most of you, myself, realize that the banking system is a giant Ponzi scheme. And sooner or later, Ponzi schemes run out of suckers. Nations right now are finding ways to keep larger shares of their own wealth, and they're dumping dollars. For decades, the US could threaten to cut off international trade by using US sanctions. If the country was small enough, we would just go in and invade it. Now, we are bankrupt, ladies and gentlemen. And the world is looking at us and they see weakness. They're not fearing America. And as I said earlier, America cannot fight the entire world. You look at Russia, China, India, Iran, so many other countries. There's just no way America has the power or the military to defeat a number of these nations now, especially when they're all coming together. And we're going to be defeated economically. We don't know how much gold we even have left in America. Fort Knox has not been audited for decades. But we do know that Russia, China, India, Saudi Arabia, the BRICS nations have been stockpiling gold, and they're going to continue stockpiling gold. They're preparing for something, ladies and gentlemen, and that's why all of us need to be preparing for something. Nobody knows exactly what is going to happen, but things are happening right now. Gold up over $30 today, silver up around 50 cents, cryptos were up. There's no doubt people are looking for alternatives, and the world global central banks are looking at gold. And I do believe at some point, and Dave Ramsey will totally disagree with this, but I do believe that there are going to be currencies, probably more than one, that are partially backed by gold. And the US dollar is not going to be the prettiest puppy in the litter. The US dollar is going to have extreme competition. The US dollar may not collapse, but it is going to be absolutely weakened. And the world is going to dump dollars because they're going to go to something more sound, more safe, and something that is backed by something like gold. And as I come to you with another empty bank behind me here, and you're going to see more of these, how many more bank failures will it take to shake Americans' confidence? I don't know, because people are out and about today. Many people are unaware of what's going on, but many of you are aware of what is taking place. We're going to see more banking trouble. The banking system globally is melting down, especially right here in America. We look at First Republic, SVB, Signature Bank. The data shows that these 3 American banks represent more deposits than the 25 banks that failed in 2008. Think about that. These banks had more deposits than 25 banks that failed in 2008. Maybe regulators want these banks to fail. How can these banks be failing when there's all this regulation and you have the regulators, and we're being told just last year that the banks are healthy, that they did stress tests, and the regulators told us everything was okay. And now we have multiple bank collapses, and today we are watching regional banks plunge. So does somebody want the banks to fail so that they can bring in a CBDC? Maybe they want to destroy the small banks so a handful of the big banks exist. I don't know. I'd love to know your thoughts on this. Comment down below. Is this the plan? Is this a orchestrated demolition of the banking system so that we just have 4, 5, 10 big banks? Is this going to force people over to a CBDC? I don't know. I really don't. But I'd like to know what you think about it. And let me know, how safe do you think the banks are? And do you think that the average American is ignoring this and is completely unaware of what's taking place right now? tomorrow, 25 basis points. That's my forecast. And it's going to put a lot more pressure on these smaller and regional banks. And I do believe we're going to see a lot more closed banks like this. You're already seeing some in your areas right now. We've lost a lot of banks over the last decade, and a lot more are going to be lost. Is it being done purposely? I have no idea. I really don't. But what I do know is something's wrong. Something is severely broken. People are not paying attention. People are going to wake up one day and wonder why they can't access money. People are going to wonder why their ATM machine doesn't work. People are going to wonder why the regulators didn't warn them. You have got to take full responsibility now for yourselves, ladies and gentlemen, because when things break, and things are going to accelerate at some point out of control, don't wake up and go, who do I blame? What politician, what banker, who do I blame? It's too late for that. Blame yourself. Look in the mirror and blame yourself. You're being warned right now. Make sure that you have cash put away where you can access it. Make sure you have gold and silver put away somewhere safe, not sitting in one of these in a safe deposit box. Putting your money in here in a safe deposit box, big mistake. Be your own central bank. Put your money, your cash, your assets where you can access them. I think that is the best advice I could give anybody today. Think outside of the box. I'm not going to tell you where to put it. I'm not going to tell you what kind of vault or safe or where to hide. That's up to you. You got to start critically thinking for yourself and your safety right now, because one day maybe your bank's going to be closed, and maybe the Fed says, hey, we can't insure it. We're either going to lose one of two ways. Keeping all your cash in a bank and the bank shutting down and not letting you get your cash out and not insuring it, or the inflation is going to get so bad from all the money printing and the bailing out of banks that your cash is just going to buy zero. And so you either lose by keeping it in the bank, or you're going to lose by keeping it out of the bank with inflation. So I think you have to have some cash right now. Not saying that to get rid of all your cash, but at some point, that the dollars that you have right now are going to continue to buy less and less. A dollar has lost 97% of its purchasing power over basically the last 50, 60 years, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure you have real money, like gold, like silver. You can go to my link down below, SD Bullion, if you need a reputable place to buy from. I don't care where you buy it from. It's up to you if you even want to buy it. That's up to you. I don't give financial advice, but that's what I'm doing. So if you need a good place to buy gold or silver or both, go to SD Bullion, link down below. Again, you saw the metals really have another nice day. And as long as we see more chaos and more trouble and more debt, the more you're going to thank God that you have some gold and silver put away. It is insurance. Pray to God you never have to use it. But if you do, thank God you have it. Have a good day, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to leave it there. This is what's coming. Another ghost town of banks.